"You're being fined for excessive grass enthusiasm," the inspector said with deadpan seriousness, clipboard in hand, as if I had just declared war on the principles of horticulture. That moment confirmed what I already suspected. This wasn't a routine HOA visit. It was a setup. The man in pressed khakis and mirrored sunglasses had no idea that the quiet guy in the hoodie he was trying to intimidate was an internal affairs officer. And his smug little act? It had just become evidence in an active corruption investigation. The morning started too peacefully. The birds chirped in suspicious harmony. The coffee brewed just a little too perfectly. Even the neighbors' normally shrieking chihuahua stayed silent. So when I saw a tan sedan with no HOA decals glide into the cul-de-sac like it owned the block, I knew trouble had clocked in early. The man who stepped out wore a fake authority uniform, tactical sunglasses, a pen holster on each sleeve, and a badge that looked like it was printed at home. He didn't introduce himself. He marched up my driveway, stepped on my lawn without asking, and scribbled notes like he was judging a crime scene. My grass was too uniformly green, which he claimed indicated unnatural maintenance. Then came the kicker, a violation sticker slapped on my mailbox. Too shiny. Distracting to drivers. Distracting how? I asked. Sun glare. Potential safety risk. He replied like he was quoting from the Department of Homeland Sparkle Control. I dealt with clipboard commandos before. But Gary Moffat had elevated petty to dangerous. His tone was less bureaucratic, more threatening. Like he was dangling fear and fines over my head just to see what I'd do. I didn't take the bait. Not yet. Do you have ID? I asked, sipping my coffee casually. Gary chuckled. You don't need to see that. But if you want this little violation issue to disappear, I can help. Some neighbors, let's just say, handle things informally. A bribe. I kept my face blank, but my internal alert system was going off like a fire alarm. My backyard camera had caught everything. So had the mic in my front pocket, a habit I never broke. It was always rolling. He handed me a form. No letterhead, no seal, just check boxes and fine amounts scribbled in pen. His name wasn't even typed, just signed in loose cursive. I played along. Let me grab my wallet. I went inside, routed the backyard feed to a secure drive, captured the audio to my server, and pinged an old contact in the DA's office. Subject line, HOA grift. You'll love this. When I returned, Gary was snapping photos of my shed, flower bed, and even my hummingbird feeder. I handed him a folded $20 to see what he'd do. He took it without hesitation. Pleasure doing business, he said, tapping the top of the fake violation. Expect the final amount next week. Might be high unless you're cooperative. As he strutted down the driveway, I leaned against the mailbox and whispered, you're gonna regret that clipboard. A quick database search confirmed what I already knew. Gary Moffat had no official title on the HOA board. Not even listed as a contracted inspector. Just a volunteer enforcement associate. A term I'd never heard before. A fake cop with a power complex. He had 2 past citations for trespassing and impersonating a city code officer. Charges dropped mysteriously both times. That told me someone higher up was protecting him. By noon, I heard from 3 neighbors Gary had harassed recently. One got fined for unauthorized seasonal flora, translation, tulips. Another had a red patio umbrella flagged for nonconformity. All of them had refused to sign a petition from the HOA president last month authorizing accelerated compliance inspections. This wasn't enforcement. It was retribution. Gary was the enforcer sent to do dirty work. But today he chose the wrong house. I spent the afternoon scanning HOA bylaws, digging through meeting notes, and reviewing Gary's appearances on neighborhood forums. Dozens of references. Same clipboard, same threats, same hints about informal solutions. No one had pushed back. Until now. Being internal affairs isn't about the badge. It's the mindset. We see how corruption hides behind rules, forms, and policy. But when someone crosses into criminal territory like bribery or falsified violations, that's when we act. I filed the internal case. Civilian abuse of HOA authority. Attached audio, video, and Gary's fake form. Then I mapped his pattern and cross-referenced every home he visited with recent property values. It hit me. They were targeting homes just under peak market value. Pressuring owners to sell cheap, then flipping them through third-party realtors tied to the HOA president's husband. I wasn't just going after Gary. I was going to burn the whole scheme down. I reached out to the veteran across the street, Harold. He welcomed me in like an old friend. I told him everything. The recording. The bribe. His smile vanished. Harold produced a folder thick with violations. Improper flagpole angle. Late pumpkin removal. Unauthorized wreath. All signed by Gary. Harold had tried to fight it through board meetings. Every appeal delayed or improperly filed. Then I met Carla, a sharp-witted landscaper. Fined for non-native plants she'd gotten HOA approval for 2 years earlier. Her fines escalated weekly. $2,000 in penalties. She put the bill on her fridge, she said. A reminder that bullies never come alone. I had witnesses. Patterns. Paper trails. It was time. I contacted Renee, a young assistant DA who didn't flinch when I said HOA racketeering. I sent her everything. Give me a week, she said. If this holds, we'll bury them. Meanwhile, I set the trap. I knew Gary would return. Greedy men always do. I left out violations in plain sight. A leaning tool. A misplaced sticker. Then I wired the yard. Cameras in birdhouses, bushes, eaves. All linked to my private server. Harold texted on the third day he's on the move. 20 minutes later, Gary pulled up. Same khakis. Same sunglasses. No knock. Well, he sneered. Still haven't fixed that drainage. What drainage? He strolled into the yard. Took photos. Unsecured tools. Non-standard sprinkler head. Then came the pitch. A few $100. This all goes away. No violations. No fuss. I smiled. You ever worry someone might be recording you? He smirked. Illegal without consent. Not when it's my property. He blinked. I stood. Stay right there, Gary. Patrol car will be here in 60 seconds. He spun, looking for an exit. Then the sirens came. 2 unmarked units boxed him in. He clutched his clipboard like a life raft. I'm authorized by the board, he shouted. Not anymore, I said. The officers cuffed him. Read his rights. The mask crumbled. The next morning, the neighborhood buzzed like a kicked beehive. Gary's arrest shocked everyone. But it also freed them. For the first time in years, people weren't scared. Gary was the muscle. But the brain was still out there. Brenda Kellerman, the HOA president. She was the strategist. Gary was her tool. I mapped violations, policy votes, and property sales. Homes hit hardest? All had owners who voted against giving Brenda more authority last year. Most had since sold. Below market value. Flipped through Kellerman Realty, owned by her husband. Brenda weaponized HOA power, harassed people into selling. Flipped homes for profit. I sent it all to Renee. Her reply, this isn't just corruption. It's organized racketeering. We needed proof Brenda gave orders. I created a fake Facebook account. Posed as a new resident. Commented on Brenda's posts. She took the bait. Stick with community leadership, she messaged. Fewer complications. Then we take care of our own. Not enough. I pushed further. Gary got sloppy, she wrote. I'm handling it personally now. That was it. We met at a local cafe. I wore a disguise and mic. Brenda bragged about strategic enforcement. Said we target the stubborn ones. Used to work with others, she said. Now it's just me. No more paper trails. I sent it to Renee. You just gave us the smoking gun, she said. 2 days later, while Brenda gave a speech at the clubhouse, officers arrested her mid-sentence. The crowd gasped as the wine glass slipped from her hand. The HOA board panicked. Half resigned. The rest claimed ignorance. And I sat on my porch and watched the neighborhood exhale. But the root wasn't dead yet. Brenda's files included a donation receipt. A payment to Councilman Avery Deeks. The same guy who had pushed HOA-friendly legislation last year. A shell organization called Citizens for Community Growth had funneled dozens of donations to local officials right before zoning changes. All traced to Brenda's husband. Deeks denied everything. But a young staffer came forward. An email surfaced. Deeks discussing HOA partners who guaranteed low-turnover redevelopment. Brenda and Gary were named. The ethics committee acted fast. Deeks was stripped of assignments. The task force expanded. And our neighborhood? We voted to dissolve the HOA. A new community group formed. No fines. No surveillance. Just neighbors. Reuben, the clockmaker down the street, became the chair. He cried when nominated. He brought me a clock, fixed it himself. No more looking over our shoulders, he said. But corruption rarely ends in courtrooms. One morning, a man from West Bay Residential Council knocked. No registry. No real credentials. Another fraud. He ended up in cuffs. You don't get it, he told me. This isn't just your neighborhood. Exactly, I said. That's why I'm not stopping. As the clock ticked behind me, I watched kids draw chalk on the sidewalk. Neighbors smiled. Flags fluttered. The war wasn't over everywhere. But here, in this little patch of America, we had peace. And if another clipboard came knocking, they'd find me waiting, with the law on my side, and justice in my hands.